The Zed to Zed podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Zed to Zed podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Fream, and thank you so much for listening. At Zed to Zed, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. Just goes to show what happens when you miss a week of recording. Well, good-natured ribbing aside, it's great to be back on the mic and speaking to the community. And that wasn't the only talking I've done this week. I look forward to an interview I recorded with the XONEBROS. It should air on episode 138. It's a great group of people in that community. Of course, our own community is equally fantastic, and we've already got some new gaming groups setting up, and our club is booming. You can find show notes for this show, as well as previous shows, on our website, zzUrbanSpaceman. This is episode 49. You can also contact us with questions and comments on Twitter, at Zed2Zed, ZEDTOZED, over at our forums, forum.zed2zed.com, or, of course, you can email us directly, contact@zed2zed.com. Today's show is brought to you by the achievement Black Friday in Forza Horizon. It's that time of year when bank accounts get drained and wallets go empty. Percent off becomes a favorite find, and that backlog just keeps on growing. This achievement has you collect all the discount signs. Collecting is kind of a funny notation when you're in a driving game. Essentially, it just entails you smashing through them. There's plain as day and absolutely worth your while. There are 100 signs in total, and each one grants you a 1% discount on upgrades. So you collect them all and get free stuff. Looking at the TA guide is a great trip through solution evolution. What began as an embedded video, added images, and finally becomes an interactive map that is pure splendor. Special thanks to developer Playground Games and publisher Microsoft Studios. And if you, our fantastic listeners, have a suggestion for achievement sponsor, let us know. Again, Twitter is probably the best to contact us. That's at Zed2Zed, ZEDTOZED. We can be contacted through our True Achievements profiles and send private messages through that at trueachievements.com. Of course, there's always our chat in the Discord chat area. And you know what? You could even leave it in an iTunes review post. So let's move into the rest of the show and meet my co-hosts. All right, everybody, like I said in the intro, I'm back, I'm here, and I'm joined with my friends. We got Randy. Hey, guys. Fream got me sick, and I wanted chicken noodle soup in my mug, but someone filled it with Crystal Pepsi. And anyway, no, he's actually really sick tonight, so that's too bad. And in his... we'll mention it later, but his Fream impersonation was fantastic. But we do have Tarragon. How are you tonight?
I'm very well, thank you.
Or this Arvo.
It's Arvo, yeah. In the Arvo, buddy.
Is it Avo, A-V-O, or is there an R in there?
There's an R, Arvo.
Like, if you're going to spell it, you'd do A-R-V-O.
Yeah, absolutely.
God, you guys are weird.
Arvo. It's kind of like SCO, except not.
We got Prue, who his spelling's a disaster. How are you tonight, sir?
Alola, Fream. I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, they just throwing an X in there for some funsies.
Sorry about that. It just kind of appears as if from nowhere.
Are you sure, like, when your parents, they didn't want to just be badass and, like, put an X on that, you know, like, you don't write the X on the front of your name, so it's like X Prol X?
Yeah, well, or maybe a couple of X's.
And like a 420? Do you not write the 420 after your name?
No. You know, it is to throw people off, just so I could sneak in behind them.
Oh, there you go. I can see it. Well, I'm so glad to be back, guys. It's I feel great. I feel wonderful. I had an awesome interview with the XONEBROS. So David and I had a little chat this week. When this show comes out, boy, that's like right before Thanksgiving, huh? it'll be that next episode. And so I don't know which number that's going to be, but I'm sure they'll throw it in their little thing, and I'm going to retweet the heck out of it. So keep a listen out for that. It's great.
We get the double frame.
I felt a little guilty about it because like David asked one question and then I talked for 37 minutes, and then he asked another question and I talked for another 15 minutes. Like I completely hogged the interview. I feel so bad. Like
I really wouldn't worry about that, Fream. If whenever you have an interviewee on, the idea is to have the interviewee talking the most. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much.
I suppose. I hope I was interesting. I want to hear what the final cut is. I'm very curious about what makes the what makes the show, and if anything gets chopped out because I kind of rambled at sometimes. Look. Give me any opportunity to hear my own voice, I will jump on the chance. Anything to feed the ego. It's my weakness. But listen for that. It's great. And if you guys don't listen to the XONEBROS show, you should. It's super fun. Again, those guys they like playing games. They tend to play the newer games. We play the old and crusty games. But our backlogs are deep.
Or the really new crap quick games.
They're those two. And the free ones. We like the free ones.
Oh yeah.
So we've got a ton of stuff going on in the community. Let's just throw out there all the contests and things that are going on, because I'm going to start with the random to-do list. Holy cow, that thing is getting massive, Tarragon.
Yeah, there's I think a lot of people are sort of coming out of the UHH, the Ultimate Head-to-Head contest, and getting knocked out of that and looking for some kind of replacement, and they find the random to-do list, which is great. So we've ended up with another 15, 20-odd people, I think, in the last 2 weeks at least. So, yeah, it's just smashing it. We're almost at 100 people active at the moment in that contest.
I know. It's so cool, because I went and I did the winners for October this last week, and I was looking through the random to-do list, and so I'm going to announce the winners here. So for the month of October, we had 67 participants that unlocked at least one achievement, right? So 67 people got their name in the drawing, and the total achievements unlocked in October, 341 between the 67 of them. That's a great list. I mean, because you only got 25, right? That's your cap. The top achievement earners in October, Buck Marley 155 takes the month with 17, followed by Cerebral Assassin has 16, and a tie for second place, Big L and Peru. Congrats, Peru. That's a nice showing for the month.
Yeah, I love this stuff, man. Going back and playing all these old games is great. I'm unfortunately not going to do so well this month. It's kind of punished me with go back and play through the whole game achievements. A lot of
in November.
Yeah. So
yeah,
but,
I've got a few of those. I've just sort of looked at my list and gone, no.
Yeah. As far as points, the points in the month of October, Jess Striker actually pulls in the lead. He had 14 achievements and earned 3,740 points. Our achievement leader, Buck Marley, 3685, and Big L in third place with 3623. So those are great scores overall. You got 2 months in, and Jess Striker is up to 10,311. Followed by Enigma Gamer 77, has put 2 strong months together, 9,400 for him, and Cerebral 88. It's still, this is an endurance race. I mean, if you can keep up with this month in and month out, you can make up this ground as if you stay consistent. It's not out of the question for anybody who just got started.
Yeah, and I guess it really does depend on your what games you end up getting picked to, which is just luck of the draw, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah,
keep chipping away, do your
random
best.
Part comes in, right? I think, yeah.
And that's only one piece of the prize pool, because every month, like we have been doing, we are giving away a single code to one random draw winner, and that winner this month, wellingtonbalbo. He's unlocked 9 achievements, so he had 9 entries in the pool and won himself a code this week. So congrats on that. I am so curious what November's going to bring. You know, we got so many new people. I mean, hopefully they engage and, you know, are unlocking stuff, and we love having them here. So, yeah, I'm really curious what these numbers are going to be.
Yeah, I know at least one who's an ex-UHH Pat, so to speak. Chin Doctor, who's also a fellow Australian. He's up in Darwin, or near Darwin. And he's on track to get at least 24 of his 25. And he might get all 25. I think he's sitting on about 21 or 22 at the moment. But the ones he's got left aren't. There's only one that's going to be particularly troublesome, but yeah, he's certainly on target to possibly be our first to hit 25. That's
awesome. That's quite the achievement in and of itself.
And certainly, I know a number of the people who are coming in. They actually ranked up pretty high. They were working pretty hard on the UHH, so they're definitely competitors. And I expect we'll see some interesting numbers come the end of November and certainly December.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think the one thing that really separates the UHH from this, aside from the level of competition, right? I mean, this is a personal goal, and you want to do what you do, but we don't use the algorithm that Rich was using to get like those like what's the next achievement kind of thing. Like this is totally random. This you could get, like you guys just said, end game stuff where you're like, oh my god, I got to play through the whole game, but you got a month to do it. It's not in a 1 week time point, so you know it's a different set of challenges.
Yeah,
that
it's rough,
this one presents. It can be absolutely.
It can be pretty rough.
When you get like 4 of those in 1 month, you know, it's like you can do one of them, but it's like it's, you know, strategic and luck of the draw, really, because like I literally would have to replay all the way through like 4 or 5 separate games, so that's not going to happen. Yeah. Obviously, but you have to just kind of be like, okay, which ones are doable and which ones are just out of the question.
Well, and a lot of this too feeds into my comments that I made on the interview, which you'll hear is how I set up these contests, because I want everybody to have a chance, right? So despite Chin Doctor coming up with 25 achievements, you know, if you can get 10 of them, you still have just a, you know, not as high a percentage, but a really great chance of earning yourself a prize. Wellington unlocked 9, right? I mean, that's a very average, a little above average score. Awesome and great work. And, you know, random.org favored him today. So don't give up. Don't get frustrated. You always have a chance to win in my contests.
Unless you don't score any achievements at all.
Unless you have a goose egg, then you are a failure.
Yeah. Or if you don't, participate at all. And I will say, man, one of the most exciting times, right, is right when you're hitting at the end of the month, and you're just waiting to get that new list. That's so great. And so it's either really soul crushing or super exciting. You're like, yeah, let's get to it.
My favorite is to line that up. I get my random to-do list. I look at it and I say, okay, which of these games have a letter that's going to help me in the gamertag challenge? And I got to line those up. It's like, okay, perfect. Lord Chibello 13 this month, BioShock. Perfect. It's the BioShock month for our challenge. Lining it up. This is going to be great. But that gamertag challenge, I pulled that one this month too. So last month, of course, was Facial Fleur. He entered his own, so congratulations. We actually
Just on Facial Fleur, sorry, probably worth mentioning again that his GoFundMe is still open, and he's still in some dire straits with his mother. So I don't know if you've got more details on that, Fream, but it's still worth mentioning again.
Not anything specific. Like you said, the GoFundMe, and listen to the past podcasts with, and the link I think is still in Discourse, right? Our forum.
Yeah, it would be, but I'll put it into the show notes again.
There you go.
If anybody can help out, he would certainly appreciate that. So
absolutely. So that gamertag challenge, we had 14 people complete it. Tarragon, you and I were on that list, and then a 15th person, Lord Chibello, submitted but had some substitutions, right? So he gets one entry. So of the 141 possible, winners, mseweryn is the winner last month. So he got his code, and had I took you and I out of the draw because I was like, it's just pointless, right? But then I was like, I kind of rabbit hunted. Guess what? You won, Tarragon.
Yay!
I re-rolled it and you won. So, yeah. Anyway,
Jackpot.
no, wait. You didn't win that one. You won the Dead Rising challenge because you killed it in the Dead Rising challenge. So the month of October for Halloween, we did the Dead Rising challenge. There's tons of opportunities to unlock games in there. We had 10 people make a submission. Okay, and that totaled.
And that's three of them are hosts.
Yes.
So
well, no.
You mean Randy? Yep, we all
that's the thing.
have submitted.
Randy never put his in there. So,
What?
yeah. So you, right, so of that, there are 451 raffle submissions, okay?
Yep.
But Randy never posted, so take out 162 of those. And take out you, Tarragon, 125 of those because, you're a host, you're not going to win. And and then, of course, I just had a little 10. So there's only 154 possible entries this month. Mighty Mango had the most through 6 previous completions. He had the triple stack of Case West and Case Zero in the kitty. And then and we had a decent amount of achievements unlocked. 15 11 completions, 15 achievements for you, Tarragon. That was pretty darn sweet. Planting had 17 achievements in October. That was a nice haul for him. Ultimately, there are only 8 possible people who could have won this month, and the prize goes to Kez. Kez 001. So he earned this month. So congrats on that. We've got our BioShock challenge up this month. I am going to play BioShock tomorrow. I got to get into that because I'm currently listening to the Game Informer show, the Game Informer podcast, and they are doing the game. They're doing BioShock as the game. And I'm pretty sure they're only going up to Fort Frolic, which is where I'm at right now, but I don't want them to slip and sneak in a spoiler or anything. So I don't want to skip my podcast, but I'm nervous they're going to ruin the game for me. So I got to catch up, and I'm going to try and, make some good effort into BioShock tomorrow. So congrats to all our winners. And we look forward to seeing the entries. Don't forget about those entries. Put them into the forums, forum.zzed.com. And get your chance to win, right? Because we're giving out prizes, and you can't win if you don't post. Finally, the last thing I want to mention in the intro is the Zed to Zed Club, right? The winter preview,
Yay!
or what are they calling it? The fall update, winter update, holiday update, whatever they call it.
Yeah,
there you go.
Holiday update, I think.
It went live, of course, and the Zed to Zed Club is alive and kicking. Well, we got like 50-some members already.
So I was really surprised. I was just sort of like, oh, yeah, I'll join the club. What?
Yeah.
Half these people I don't even know. It's like...
Yeah, I'm getting notifications like all day long that people are trying to join us. So, yeah, it's crazy.
It's awesome. And we've used that to, I went on there right before Titanfall to try and find where the Titanfall group was. I was like, oh, I know they're in here somewhere. And so I could just join into the lobby for that. And, just looking for whatever other people are playing. I saw somebody playing Prominence Poker. I'm like, oh, I got to do my daily. Maybe just jump, Anyway, it's awesome. I really like it to see who's online.
Yeah, you should look into, say for those sessions, look into using the LFG. I think you can actually bind the LFG within the club.
Yeah, you can.
So that might be worth putting up if you've got regular sessions like the Titanfall sessions or any other boosting sessions. Just make them an LFG on those particular times, and that way people in the club will get notified of that.
Yeah, for
well.
Sure. So let's move into kind of what we've been doing this last week. We'll start with you, Prue. We haven't heard from you in a bit. Why don't you regale us with your achievement activities of the week?
They have been many and plentiful. So
wonderful.
Yes. I mean, I'll start with the usual. We did have Titanfall last night.
Did you earn anything?
Nope. Unfortunately, no. I was on the.
Oh yeah, you were on the losing team.
Yeah.
I am up to. I have 1 attrition rent left. I have 1 Titan voice to buy. I have 1 militia campaign win and 1 IMC campaign to win. And those are my gates to 4 achievements. I'm like right on the edge.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't. It's just that we've hit a point now where it's like we just kind of have to grind through this stuff, and that's the whole point of it. And the first session, I won't say it was all about me, but it was certainly that at the end was the reason I have such a high amount of those random to-do lists, because that one achievement knocked me over the edge last month. So it was great that everybody helped, and so I was just there to help last night, and it's fine. I didn't get anything, but next week maybe we'll see.
Yeah, so we actually like, and I don't know if this is widely known as far as boosting that game goes, but as I was shocked this worked, if you've got two parties going, you've got your winning party and your losing party, and when you get into the match, right, if you match up, of course, you're doing Japan West servers, right? That's the best place to go. If you match up and the losing team just quits the game, the winning team just has to go and kill 10 grunts, and they win the match. And then you research and you find them again. I mean, games, you can get wins in games like within minutes. I mean, the longest time is obviously matching up. And that has been super great to try and get these win counts higher. It doesn't really do you any good for anything else. But I mean, that's actually working pretty well. And for everybody else who's not winning, right, the losing team, aside from the host, like, they can actually just kind of do something else. I think Stushnikin was killing it in Rocket League. I think he's like, I had such a huge successful night doing Titanfall boosting. I gained 2 levels in Rocket League. It was
and it was getting quite late, and I had quite the long day, so I may or may not have fallen asleep once or twice during that session. But yeah, since I wasn't the host, it didn't matter. It was just I was a body in the lobby. And
so thumbs up to M for that. Matriarch was running the show. She's the real hero here. She's the real hero.
Oh, for sure. Because we're all just talking stupid and joking around and stuff. Man, it must be like herding cats trying to get everybody to do stuff. All props to her for sure.
Yeah, to be honest, it's like a room full of drunks, right? Because you're just so tired, and just at that point when it's so late, you're just like, people are talking gibberish, and we were just throwing like random YouTube videos into the chat, and it was just pandemonium.
It was.
Right, this sounds like a perfectly normal night to me.
Well, exactly.
Isn't that what happens every night?
Pretty much. All right, Prue. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you there.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So that's our ongoing Titanfall Thursday. So, and if you want to join, come on in, because we do have a blast every time. Even though this one, at least for me, wasn't as productive as the other ones, it doesn't matter, because it's just fun to get in there with the community and just chat and have a good time. So that was Titanfall. And then of course, me and Randy have been working on Perfect Dark Zero. It's too bad he's not here, because this was a more momentous occasion for him than it was for me. But we actually finally, and I won't give it away. He can talk about it next week when he does come back. But we did beat Perfect Dark Zero on, I think it's called Perfect Agent. I may be wrong on that. We finally beat it, and now we have unlocked the ultra super hard mode that we now have to go back and replay the whole game.
God, that sounds miserable.
So it was very exciting when we beat it, and we went back and played the hardest level on the hardest mode just to kind of gauge where we're at, and I think we're pretty comfortable. We've made it through the hard one. I think we can do this. It may take 2-3 weeks, but I think we'll be fine. Playing through Skyrim, nothing exciting going on there other than just playing through the game. I love the game, of course, but it's just going to be a long time playing through that. And Gears as well. Getting close to the end of our first insane playthrough, and then once we beat that, I'll switch to easy. My buddy will switch to insane, and we'll reverse it.
You'll actually have to do some work.
Gears 4.
Gears 4. Sorry. Yes. Yep. Sorry about that. And then, of course, I've been working on the random to-do list stuff. Okay. I want to talk about this just a little bit here. This game was on sale for like $5 once, like years and years ago. This game, El Shaddai. I don't know how many people are familiar with it or not, or played it or not. This is the weirdest game in the whole world, man. I don't understand what is going on. It's the strangest story I've ever heard. So I played a couple of levels of it for the random to-do list, and even when I was actually playing the game, I just don't know what the heck is going on. It's just very, very, very like Japanesey and like weird and odd, and I don't like it because I don't get the context of what's happening. So I just kind of wish I didn't have to play it. But I did my random to do stuff, and I'm done with that until it comes up again in one of these lists. Last week I mentioned that I was playing through.
Hey, at least it's an E for your gamertag challenge.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I mentioned last week that I wanted to just finish out Lego Indiana Jones. Did that, which is great. Never have to play that again. Got one in Left 4 Dead 2. That was cool. And then Brutal Legend, which is another one of these games that seems to pop back up all the time in these things, man. I like game was great, and I still like it, but I'm kind of dreading when the online stuff starts popping up in these things. Like right now, it hasn't been too bad, but and then other than that, the only thing I want to mention, and I'll just mention it briefly, is about 5 hours ago I picked up the new Pokemon. I know it's not achievement related, but I just have to mention it. It's out, and I'm excited, and I've been playing that pretty much all night. So
my son has been conflicted with how to buy it. He's like, oh, I know Christmas is coming up, but I kind of want to spend my money now. And I'm like, dude, just buy it. Like, you want to play it. And he's been watching videos, and so you've played. So have you put in 5 hours, or you just picked it up 5 hours ago? I probably picked it up probably about 5 or 6 hours ago. I'm about 3.5 hours in, and it's good. It's good. It's a very, very slow beginning. It's the slowest beginning of Pokemon ever. I've just gotten past the tutorial, just gone into the first room. Yeah,
this sounds like that's almost like Metal Gear Solid or Final Fantasy level of slow start to a game.
It's definitely slow dripping it. It appears to me that they don't have gyms in this version, quote unquote. They don't have gyms, but they have things that are gyms, essentially. They're just calling them something different. I have not gotten to the first one of those. So it is still trying to hold my hand and tell me where to go and what to do. But it's great. I mean, I love Pokemon. So again, we're not going to spend too much time on that. But that's what I've been playing. And now I've got to kind of balance that with the rest of all of this. So.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's weird, right? Because like we love these achievements so much, it feels like we're wasting our gaming time when we're playing a game that doesn't have these achievements.
Like, playing for fun? What's that thing? I should be getting achievements here. What the hell? Yeah, yeah. It's a weird hobby, isn't it? It's sort of, it works against your gaming at the same time as being part of gaming. It's a weird, yeah.
It's like if I could earn achievements for playing this game right now, like my life would be perfect. I would have no complaints at all. But whatever, it's fine.
So I guess over to me.
What did you up to?
Well, I actually had a relatively quiet gaming week. So I did work on a couple of things for the random to-do list. Aratana and the Harpy's Feather, which is kind of a puzzle platformer sort of game. Which I basically had to ditch my save and start all over again because I just did not know how the controls worked. So that made a lot more sense rather than starting on level 2 and going, why can't I do anything?
Right.
It has one of those weird sort of things where you need to, you have like a specific kind of action, but then you need to press down and do something else in like after that. It's like a jump action, and then you have to press down and press a specific button to do a particular kind of special action. And if you don't know that, you can't actually get anywhere in the game. You need to know this particular trick. So it's kind of like I'd obviously played through the first bit ages ago when I dived the game. But yeah, I was getting really frustrated with the second level. It's like, how do I get up there? I can't work out how to jump onto this bit. And then, yeah, it's okay. I'll just start the game again. Right. So you get that particular special ability, and then you press down and press your thing. Right. Anyway, so that's the achievement that's actually on my list is to get all these collectibles in a particular set of levels. And I thought that was the first set of levels, and so I went through and I got all the collectibles in the first set of levels, and that achievement didn't unlock. And it's like, oh, okay. So I've actually got to progress about 3/4 of the way through the entire game to get that particular achievement. Yeah, maybe I'm not doing that one this month because it's quite quite time consuming to get there, particularly getting all of the collectibles. So yeah, I don't know that I'll be going back to that one. Dust: An Elysian Tale, which is I think it's a reasonably well regarded sort of, I guess it's kind of Metroidvania in some sense, but it's kind of a platformer hack and slashy kind of thing. But you also
it's
level
2D,
up,
right?
Yeah, it's 2D, but you also kind of level up and you get new abilities, and there are some parts of levels that are locked off, so you go back to them and go through areas. That's kind of the Metroidvania thing. Yeah, it's not a bad game. I think it's been well regarded on PC, and this was the 360 port. I don't think it's done terribly well on the 360, but it popped up in my list, and I got the achievement I needed, so that was good. And pretty much the rest of my time this week has been spent on Assassin's Creed Unity. I'm just sort of working through the game and doing all of the things you do in Assassin's Creed. The story in it's not really that great, I don't think, in Unity. It just feels a bit like, hey, having a revenge plot worked well in Assassin's Creed 2, so let's just do that again, but in France. And that's pretty much the entirety of the story is just, yeah, okay, I'm chasing these people who killed my family. Great. Okay.
Is it still like a glitchy mess, or?
Oh yeah. It's I mean, it's not horrible, but yeah, there are noticeable glitches, and yeah, it's mostly the little ones are just like, people walking on air, or popping up where they shouldn't be, or just doing silly things. But yeah, there are the occasional things where, like, I climbed up this tower and then I tried to get down again, and every time I tried to get down, there was like a little kind of like a little sort of nook as you were going up, if you imagine like the pinnacle of a tower, and then they have little, like it comes from the tower, then goes down straight, but there's little struts with little areas you could stand on. And I was trying to climb down, and no matter what I did, I'd climb down past this thing, and then it would just warp me to one of these struts, and I couldn't do anything. And it'd be like, great, okay, I'll just try and go up, and it won't let you jump off it. Okay, I'll try and jump up, and it finally lets me go up again. So it's great, I'll just move around it and go down again, and then warps me straight back to the strut. Right, I'll just quit the game and come back in again. It's yeah, one of those. It just continually does that. Oh, and I think every third time I start the game up, I have to actually. It gets to a point. It goes loading. It's in the loading screen, and I know what it's doing. It's trying to talk to Ubisoft servers, but gets stuck. And it will just go and have a forever loading screen. So you have to quit the game, start it up again. It's probably every third time I start the game, it does that. And it's like,
really? Yeah. That frequently?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, I've been having it just on because my Xbox doesn't do the full shutdown. So I've been able to go straight back in without issue generally. But pretty much every second, third time that I've had to start the game from scratch, it's ended up getting stuck on this loading screen. And it's like, I mean, the most reliable way around that is just to turn off your networking, go into the game. It goes and bypasses that bit, gets to the front screen, then you can see your networking back on. But you don't have to do that every single time just to play what should be a AAA game that should be reliably starting, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so it's still a mess.
Don't be a whiner.
Well, yeah, so, but other than that, I'm still enjoying it's Assassin's Creed. I'm still sort of enjoying it. I really did. I think another problem I'm finding with the Unity is it's really, it's difficult. It's like they've kind of put in this, like, unlocks, and you kind of earn sort of experience to get these unlocks and unlock these abilities and things like that. But then there's also, like, you buy clothing which gives you better health and better melee and stuff like that. And it just feels a bit like, well, I felt like in the previous ones you didn't have to do that sort of stuff. You were just a badass. You know what I mean?
Well, and I remember hearing an interview with them, and they were talking, because they rebuilt the game, and they were like, one of the biggest issues they felt was that combat was just so pointless that they wanted to encourage stealth. And they wanted to make the fighting more meaningful than instead of like holding your block and then just countering everything and then counter kill and do a chain. And it's like they were like, we wanted to have like meaningful combat and we want you to do stealth. It's like, okay, that's fine, but you can't have broken stealth mechanics where, like, the sensitivity on some of the guards, all of a sudden, instantly they're on you and it turns into a brawl.
I just hit one. I hit one of those. There was one of the missions where you've got to be stealthy. You've got to kind of stealth your way into this thing. Well, I swear those guards were prescient. It's like I stepped into a zone, and they were also hair trigger. So, I mean, it's one of the later levels, so I guess that kind of makes sense. But I literally would step into the zone. One of them would just spot me, so that's like they've just seen me for like one little thing. All of the guards in the zone suddenly go boom, and they're all on me. Yeah. I step out and run away, and it's like, and they're across the other side of the yard where they couldn't have possibly seen me on the other side of these fences and stuff like that. They're coming straight for me and shooting me. It's like, what?
Yeah, no, and so that it was broken. And then they made combat more difficult, and that's not fun. And so ultimately, all everybody does is just drop smoke bombs and kill people. Like, that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, well, that's what I was finding is just that, the combat's difficult. Like, if you get in combat, I'm basically giving up. It's like, okay, I've gotten into combat. There are 10 people around me. I've got no chance. I'm just going to reset the checkpoint because there's just no point going on.
It's dumb.
And coming off straight off the back of Black Flag, where, okay, the combat is actually ridiculously easy in Black Flag, but that's just fun to do. It's fun to beat people up and stab people because that's it might be simple and it might not really matter, but the fact is it's still fun to do. And so that was a lot of the fun. And the thing is, you had your choice then, because you could just go into combat and be a badass, or you do the stealthy kind of thing, and that's fine. But you don't necessarily get completely invalidated from your mission if you end up in a combat situation. So, yeah, anyway, I guess... It
reminds me of Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor and why I liked it so much. Because it's Batman combat, right? If you can get into your rhythm and you can just you can take out armies of people. And it's like... And then once you start getting sloppy... That's when you get into trouble, is because you're just being, I can't be hurt. And then all of a sudden, one guy who you can't jump over takes you down, or, you've got to stun him or whatever. And it's like, that's what makes that fun. It's awesome being so powerful that you don't have to deal with these people. They're more of a nuisance. Now they're a nuisance and they'll kill you.
And I guess the last thing on the combat with Unity is, in previous Assassin's Creeds, if you blocked, generally you weren't being attacked by a second person at the same time. So I'm finding that you'll block someone, you'll get the perfect parry, and then you start whacking the crap out of them, and then somebody else decides, they're going to attack you at that point, where that's sort of, and particularly there's the little warning sign that they give you that they're about to attack. But just due to the camera, that's usually off screen. So you don't actually know somebody's about to attack you and that you need to parry. You're trying to get this guy down because you've just gotten through his sort of guard, essentially, by parrying him. And then you get whacked. You lose like a quarter of your health. It's like, yeah. Anyway, not a lot of fun.
What are you going to add, Prue?
It was so amazing that you mentioned Batman, because one of my random to-do lists is going back to Arkham Asylum and getting some of these challenges, these combat challenges, which I never did. And
I can give you some tips on that if you need.
Yes, I would love them. I would love them. Okay, because you know what? Here's the thing. I love these games. I love these Arkham games, and but I've never really gotten into the challenge rooms. So now when I'm getting these where I have to get so many stars and stuff, it's so frustrating to me, because I'm like, I thought I was good at this game. Like, what the? Like, it's awful. It's awful. I love the combat in the game, but there's a real art to it, and there's there's a really good guide on GameFAQs for the Arkham Asylum combat, and it really goes into depth on just all of the techniques. But there's just a couple of little basic things that will really make your combat much easier. And if you get those down, then you'll get through most of those challenges without any issues at all.
I hear there's some awesome TA guides too, written by, I don't know, a host of this podcast, I think.
Well, yeah.
Yes. You should definitely share with me. I would love to. I
wrote a couple of them. I think I contributed to the combat, like the way you have to do the 12 different moves or whatever in one combo.
Yep.
And about what works there, and then the challenge rooms with that one with the lightning floor.
Yeah, that one is the most difficult one.
So hard.
But I've played through the Arkham Asylum. I've got 5 completions in it, so I've done it enough times. But even that one still takes me a few tries to get.
Oh yeah.
So even knowing what I know about combat, and I don't consider myself the best at the game, but I certainly can get through the combat challenges with ease.
Absolutely.
That one still gets me. So yeah, it's
tricky.
Well, I would definitely appreciate any advice, and in return, I will give you my advice on the combat in the Telltale Batman series, which is just as equally as difficult. So don't you worry about it. I'll give you all my tips. So.
All right.
Perfect.
That'll be helpful, yeah.
Batman for Batman. I like it.
So I guess that was all I've actually really played this week. I haven't actually touched Elite Dangerous since I blew up a couple of weeks ago. But on that
when
note,
you're saying blew up, you mean figuratively or emotionally or... I heard the show and your ship blew up, but did you
ship
also blow up in real life and break something?
No, I didn't explode. It wasn't an angry moment. It was more I've done something stupid and I can't get out of it. Oh, crap. And I'm just going to take a deep breath and not play the game for a couple of weeks.
Just feel position, roll in the corner. What did I do? What did I do?
But yeah, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but it was not great. But as it happens, Going Xwell, one of our listeners, he and another.
Are you sure that's not swell?
Yeah, it could be Going Xwell, whatever. I'll do what I want.
New member to the forums.
Yes.
If you can, fill us in on how to pronounce your name. Because I say Going Swell because we made a bunch of puns in the chat about it.
Okay. Well, I'll take that. Going Swell with an X. Said.
I know how it is going. I know how it is.
Yeah. That's not even a silent X. Anyway. He suggested that I chase it up with support because apparently the neutron stars are a little bit too killy. They are a bit like if you get stuck in their jet stream, they apparently kill you a bit too quickly. So, and that was basically what happened to me. Even though I got stuck in it in my own fault, I got too close to a neutron star. I dropped out of frame shift drive, and I was stuck in a jet. And it proceeded to then immediately turn off most of my modules, and I just couldn't get out of there in time before my canopy blew, and I was breathing reserve oxygen, and I finally managed to escape and I had about 2 minutes of oxygen left, so there was no chance I was getting back to anywhere that was going to save me.
Wait, you were just like floating around in space with no ship?
I still had my ship. I managed to get the ship out of the jet stream. I managed to hit frame shift drive and get out. I was on about 10% hull by that point, so I was very close to my ship just exploding. But my canopy had exploded as well, which means I had no atmosphere. So I was basically running on reserve oxygen, and you only have a certain amount of that. So even though I had...
Dr. Strangeloved it and rode that ship right into the star.
What? Yeah, I was going to say...
right?
It actually doesn't sound like it's too dangerous as far as actual neutron stars go, but I understand the video games are a little different than real life. But
yeah, well, it's probably... They actually have increased the danger of neutron stars, but you go through their jet stream to try and boost your frame shift drive. But that will do damage to your frame shift drive, and if you stay in there for too long, it starts to batter your ship as well. But yeah, if you're not actually you're not in super cruise, which is kind of like high speed mode, when you do that, then you're pretty well screwed because all of your modules start to screw up and you can't thrust and you can't get back into super cruise. And yeah, anyway, turns out this is a bit of a bug. It's actually not meant to be that dangerous. So yeah, I actually put in a support ticket and got compensated for it. So they actually gave me some so they gave me some cash to cover the cost of rebuying the ship and to cover some of the exploration data. So that was nice. So I don't get my exploration credits towards my elite ranking, but I did get some money, so that's all right. So I feel a bit better about it, and I actually turned it on again today for the first time. And
are there black holes in that game?
There sure are.
So I was on Twitter, and it was a retweet from some NASA dude, and there was like a video about like a black hole that, because like typically black holes don't move, right? They're just this hole, right, where two stars collapse, the gravity gets so tight that it collapses on itself, and it just starts pulling in.
They can move. I think there's actually an achievement in Elite for visiting a region called Sagittarius A, and that is actually the big black hole right at the middle of the galaxy. And pretty much most galaxies, I think, have a supermassive black hole sitting in the middle of them. So there is an achievement based around that specifically. But yeah, sorry, you were saying.
No, so yeah, this NASA story is essentially that most black holes, like you said, are at the center of a galaxy. The stars have collapsed upon themselves, and anything that swings by them, they just start pulling in. But he was showing, like, they've found this black hole that is firing through space. Like, it is on a just zip drive, like flying through, sucking everything it passes. And what they're thinking is that two black holes actually got near to collide, and the one was larger than the other, and so its gravitational force like slingshotted the littler black hole, and so essentially just launched this black hole through space that, you know, can just eat anything. That's terrifying. Like,
and quite cool.
Space terrifies me.
Yeah.
Like, this NASA dude on Twitter, like, he keeps posting, like, apparently a couple weeks ago, Earth had a near miss with, like, a Texas-sized meteor. Like, it came within, like, hundreds of miles, well, probably thousands of miles, but still, like, watching the graph of the Earth with an equally sized big hunk of rock just go zipping around in orbit and then zing, like, just miss. It's like, oh my God, we're sitting ducks.
You know, the more you talk about it, Tarragon, I'm very, very interested in Elite, but it just sounds like a huge leap into it. I kind of want to try out.
There is a bit of a learning curve. However, I haven't actually gone and tried this, but I've heard various people say this. But originally the tutorials in the game weren't hugely great, but they've actually improved them a lot. So the learning curve, I think, has been decreased if you go through the tutorials and learn how to play that way. But yeah, there is a lot to the game, but it is a really it's quite an awe-inspiring game. I think just the scope of it, and what you can do, where you can go, the things you can see, it's quite amazing. So, I mean, where I am at the moment, I just left a place called Polo Harbor, which is like one of the colonies between a far-flung sort of area called Colonia and the Bubble, which is where sort of based around where Sol is. It's about 18,000 light years from Sol, but I'm so entering an area where all of the stars, the entire starscape is essentially kind of a purpley kind of color because I'm getting close to nebula. So it kind of, like, space actually changes as you get closer to sort of realms where there are a lot more stars. It's a lot denser, and you get, like, nebula involved, and so the sky is just not black; it's kind of purpley or whatever. It's really spectacular in a lot of ways. So yeah, I would highly recommend it if you've got an interest in space as well, just from looking at space and how space bodies in space work. And obviously you would be Prue because you're a Star Trek nerd. So
exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Hey, you said you have that soundbar. You should find the soundbar from Woody Harrelson from True Crime where he says that last bit right there, pure gibberish. Space talk. Hey, you know what, Prue? If you're interested in space, I've got a game for you. Destiny. I played so much Destiny last week. It was great. And it's not at all take up my time.
Can I just ask, is there actually any space flight in that game or anything that does?
Yeah, they're loading screens.
The loading screens.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, it's kind of Destiny's kind of like Elite Dangerous, but without the space. I think that's how the game works.
Yep. It was Iron Banner week, and so I was trying to rank up my guys so I can get into the raid. I am technically at raid level, and I signed up for a session. I think I'm a reserve right now, so I don't know if I'll get into it or not, but I think there's like 5 other reserves, so that means we got a 6-man crew. Next Wednesday, the Wednesday after Thanksgiving, the 30th of November. I don't think I have enough time that evening to do it, but I'm gonna get a checkpoint and then try to finish it that week. So there might be a Destiny achievement around the corner for me. I'm only 450 hours in. You know, no big.
Yeah, no biggie.
The only other things I did this week were Gears of War 3. We did the Ram Shadow DLC again and finished that thing up. We're moving into Beast mode next week, and we are on for the Tuesday. Well, it's too late after this comes out. So Beast mode is probably going to take 2 weeks, and then we'll do Horde, which will take longer, and that'll go into into December, which, of course, if you've seen the calendar on the forums, December is Gears of War month. There's the Gears of War Community Challenge. So we've got, get your achievements in Gears during the month of December. And so hopefully I'm going to save some things over for that. I do want to make a mention of a Gears UK boosting session. So Keith, 271179, and McLovin Legend, and I should have brought up the crew. There's three of them. Buck Marley, duh. So the three of them are going to do an insane run through of Gears of War 3, like we had just been doing, Saucy, Koosh, and Mattism and I. And they're looking for one more person. So if you see this on the forums or if you get into it, they're going to start on Friday, November 25th, Black Friday, at 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And they'd like to do it every Friday if they can. So if that fits in with your schedule and you want to be a part of that, hit them up. And if there's even more interest, you probably start up another crew, to tell you the truth. So awesome to those guys who are trying to set up a session. I know Joe is trying to set up her own UK Titanfall session. So if you're in the UK and you're looking to do some Titanfall, I think there's probably 6 people so far interested. I think they're just trying to coordinate times. So you can find information for that on the forums. And then, and the other thing is, of course, Titanfall, like we said. What we didn't mention is, so after Titanfall, we did the wins boosting. I went and tried to finish up my campaign wins. And so 4 of us went in to try and set up a way to, we just had a few to get. And we were having some connection issues, so we were trying some things out. Here's a little trick that kind of worked for us. If you do, and so we were doing on our normal servers in the United States here, and so we were waiting for randoms and stuff to show up, but you could probably do this on Japan as well, is set up your 2 different parties, and then when you identify what the map is, it'll show you which faction you're on, and if you're quick on the trigger, you know which faction you need, you can quick jump parties by finding your friend's gamertag and joining his session in progress, and then having one other person jump to the other side to balance out the teams. And so you can kind of tailor your play. And if it is indeed just the 2 teams and there's no randoms, then you could just force win whichever way you need to go. So maybe it's not as daunting to get these last 2 wins that I need, but I will admit, playing a game with Decoy, who was a CS Geek Squad, and who stayed with me? Was it Saucy? That was so much more fun than trying to play by myself. Man, having people who are good and not a bunch of randoms. Oh, thank you so much. It was super helpful. Tarragon, did you have anything else? That was it. Pretty much it for me for the week. I didn't really do a ton of gaming. I'm looking forward to getting back on track this week. It's tough when you're sick. My kids are sick now, of course. I passed it on to them. So I'm excited to get back on the
such a bad
back
parent.
On the horse. I know, right?
Yeah, I just have one last thing. It's a bit of a sad thing. I just wanted to give a shout out to Montana97, who had a family member pass away this week. Just wanted to basically say on behalf of the podcast that we're very sorry about that, and hope he is all well.
Absolutely, condolences. So there's no great transition from that, but I wanted to make a comment based on what you guys were talking about last show, Tarragon, you specifically with VR. And you had mentioned VR movement. And there was a unique article I read a few months ago, maybe a few weeks ago, about VR movement. And it's a game, it's the company is called Lone Echo. I think that's the company. Yeah,
I've got the article up here.
Yeah. Oh, Ready at Dawn. The game is called Lone Echo. Ready at Dawn's game. They've done this really unique, and I think it's so creative, and I'm curious if we're going to see more games try to do this, because, like you said, VR is such an immersive and exciting venture that we're kind of getting into, but nobody's really figured out the movement part of it, because it's weird. It's weird to be standing or sitting yet having to propel yourself in a direction. And most people use the tunneling, or you throw the flag somewhere and then you're warped to that flag, kind of warping mechanics.
Yep.
That's a simplified way to do it right now. Well, this is a creative approach. The game is it's set in space, and essentially,
like Elite Dangerous.
That's one. That is a space game.
Okay. Right.
But it is you're kind of working on this space station. You spend most of your time outside of a space station. You're like a robot who has to keep this space station working, and so everything is done in anti-gravity. And so the way that you propel your robot is by using the haptic sensors on the hand units and pulling yourself on the debris and the equipment to get momentum, because your legs aren't going to work because you're just floating in space. You can't swim in space, right? There's no friction. So you have to pull things and use the mass around you to get yourself to move around. And
yeah,
I think
so like handrails and things like that. So yeah, that's brilliant. Although it does miss, the one thing it's missing is that you would be able to, in normal low gravity situations, you would be able to kick off things as well. But
right,
but yeah,
right.
But that is a pretty good. That's a pretty good way to work around the whole movement thing. That's really good.
Yeah, it's clever, and I don't think it would seem weird. I think the only weird thing is getting that, the resistance when you stick your arm out to pull, right? Because if you're grabbing like a pole and pulling yourself, you're going to find that issue in all of these scenarios, is that you're not getting a good analog.
Yeah, I guess with if they've got haptic feedback, if they give a little bit of a vibration bump when you're grabbing things, that can give you the illusion of that. What I guess might not quite work in this game is that obviously you're still standing, you're still affected by gravity, and you've still got a sense of up and down, whereas in a real no-gravity situation, you wouldn't have up and down, and you could actually inadvertently flip upside down relative to everything else that's around. I don't know if they kind of cater for that within the game. I'd be interested to see how they deal with that.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. And
it's also, it is a great concept. It's a cool idea for a singular game, but it's essentially a Band-Aid. It doesn't solve
the problem overall. It just works for one particular title, which is it's just a great solution for that particular title. And it's a bit like the one I was mentioning. I forget the name of the game, but the one where they were
the Climb. That's one they mentioned here. Oculus Studio has one, the Climb.
No, it wasn't that. The actual game itself was a kind of a god game.
Sure.
But you would move around basically by swinging your arms and grabbing, and it was sort of people were starting to treat that like walking, essentially, like swinging their arms when they were walking, and it became much more natural.
It would essentially be like treating every movie like Gravity. That's what this is doing. Like, this is the video game equivalent of the movie Gravity. Like, it's cool as a concept and as like a one-off kind of thing. It certainly doesn't solve. Not that it's probably not even trying to solve the whole problem of this thing. But it's a creative way to kind of get around the limitations that you have.
Right. Right. And I think that's what's really exciting about VR right now, is because it's such a learning environment that, people are getting really creative on approaches on how to get around these solutions. And, it's the same thing about when video games first appeared on the market and people were just figuring out, what can we do in here? I was just, what podcast was I listening to? And they were talking about, it was IGN's interview with Campo Santo on Firewatch. And they were talking about making the game Firewatch, and that, they were likening it to a movie. And he says, when you're making a movie and you're filming something, like, you have, the film just wants to come out. Like, and this was a quote from them. It just wants to come out. Like, you've got this collection of video, and you just, at some point, you just want to put it together and send it out, because then people can enjoy it or not enjoy it or whatever, but it exists and it's together. And the developer was like, the thing about video games is they don't actually exist. Like, literally what we're making are spreadsheets that can dance. Like, it's just these really these really complicated spreadsheets that we can find out ways to make them dance and do stuff for us. Like, it doesn't actually exist as a thing. It's a collection of data that works in a specific way to move things around. I mean, and I had never considered a game in that vein before, because to me, it's like, well, a video game, it's like a game of chess, right? I can sit there, I can touch the pieces, I can move them around. The video game, right? I have a disc, and that's my game. It's like, but that's not the game. You know, you look into what the programming is of the game and all the files, and it's like, you're right. This literally is just a giant math problem that just happens to tell a big logic puzzle, and it just happens to do what you want it to do, or not. In the case of Assassin's Creed,
that's it's a really weird way of looking at both of those things. It's interesting. Yeah. I don't buy it. I mean, it's very flowery language for saying something interesting. I just don't think that.
Well, I mean, so those guys have their own podcast, and so they're kind of wordsmiths. I encourage you to listen to that interview. It was Podcast Unlocked. I don't know, episode 120 or 2. No, they're like at 200 something. And they had Campo Santo in. The sound quality wasn't great because I think they had to share a mic, but those two gentlemen they're so funny. I mean, they're so personable. I really enjoyed listening to it. Cool. Let's move into some listener feedback. We got Twitter. We got a Twitter comment. That's fantastic. Kenny.
Yeah.
You really want me to say his? You want me to say his?
Yep.
His tag,
sad frame.
If you want to tweet at Kenny, you can use his handle at Fufu Cuddly Poof. That is a fantastic name, Kenny. And I will. So let me read his comment. He says, "Hey, you guys should do another debate. I really enjoyed the Dead Rising debate, and you keep touching on it. And another one needs to happen." This is not the only comment I've got on this. When I was talking to David, I'm not sure we talked about it on the interview or off the interview, but he also said that your debate was brilliant. It was such a unique take on. He's never heard that before at a podcast. He's never heard that type of thing. And he's like, you absolutely should do more segments like that. So we need to come up with what the next debate is, because the fans want it.
Well, in that case, let's throw it out to the fans and get some ideas on what we should actually debate. Like, if it's something similar to the Dead Rising 1 versus 2 kind of thing, and what might make it interesting, and what we possibly should have done last debate was we should have actually had each other arguing the opposite of our own view. So I should have been arguing for Dead Rising 1, and Crandy should have been arguing for Dead Rising 2. This would have been interesting to see how we worked. But
yeah, I think the easiest place is to set up a forum page for this and have people put in suggestions about what they want to debate and who you want to debate it. Tell you the truth. I mean, we might step in and say, okay, Fream doesn't know anything about Rock Band, so he's not doing a Rock Band debate. But, you can say, what would be really great to hear? Fream anti-zombie and, Tarragon pro-space or something. I don't know. Just come up with something.
That's a weird debate. That's a real weird debate.
I'm just spitballing ideas here. I don't think, I will give the total credit to our community because they're brilliant. They will come up with some awesome ideas. So if you're listening to this.
Just on that, has there ever actually been a movie with zombies in space?
I don't know. The new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had zombies in space. There was one episode. Do you guys watch old school Ninja Turtles at all? Like
what?
I watched it back in the day, but
yeah. So do you remember Wyrm? He was this weird looking dude with like a mushroom type head. He was made out of garbage, and he had like a tentacle leg. And I remember the action figure because he was like bright blue and pink and orange.
Yes, I remember him.
Yeah. And so, like, in the original, he was like some sewer just mutant monster. Like, he was a total, and he actually, I think he fought for the Turtles. He was a good guy. I'm trying to remember the episode. Anyway, they brought him into one of the new episodes of the Turtles. And this was when they were in space, actually. So the turtles went in space. If you're not following the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle show, there is a season where they're in space.
Wait, spoilers.
Oh.
Man,
it's like
Fream.
It could be
Tarragon.
anything.
It's a lot like Elite Dangerous, but with turtles instead. So
That might be good then.
there's like this distress call, and they go up to this like derelict ship, and they're cruising around, and Casey Jones is like, "Man, I wish something cool would happen. This place sucks." And all of a sudden, space zombies show up, and it's like, what? So I won't go into what the rest of the show is. I'm just letting you know, space zombies.
Okay.
I've seen them once. And then there's Dead Space, right? There's space zombies.
And I would also argue the Flood from Halo are space zombies.
Sure.
They're not zombies, though.
Oh, come on. I don't know how you could say they're not zombies.
And the necromorphs from Dead Space are not zombies. They're not. Nah,
all right, there's the debate. Why are necromorphs not zombies, and why are the Flood not zombies? I will take the pro-zombies. We still need you, a listener, to help us out. Let's line a bunch of these up, and because we want to take them seriously, like the Dead Rising one was. I think it was as a joke, but the fact that you two both put so much prep into it, it was well worth it. It was well worth it. I think we need to do that again. So
yeah, for
I'm
sure. I mean,
for that.
we could actually mix that up a bit too. We could even bring in community people if there's particularly passionate people who want to come on the show and argue for or against a particular topic, which one of the hosts happens to be across. That might work as well.
That's a good call. Speaking of community, in December, I'm going to throw this out there now. It's going to be sometime in the middle of December. It gets just tricky with, life and whatnot and the holidays, but I want to have the second round of the Zed Zed game show, where we do the games. I tell you achievements, and you try to come out. I got to put together my list. I will have them more popular games. I haven't decided if it's going to be 5,000 players or more, or 10,000 players.
You got to have at least one really obscure one in there. That's like the super hard one that nobody will
I could throw the tiebreaker, maybe,
except for maybe me.
Yeah. So I know you want to be involved, Tarragon, and so we'll try to get some new people in. Look in the forums for when that goes up. I'll try to recruit some people. We'll say when the time is going to be, and so that'll be a lot of fun.
That'll be awesome.
Unfortunately, it won't be a UK friendly time. So sorry, Joe. And all my UK friends, unless you want to stay up late. She responded to my page when I said, "Hey, what's on your mind?" She responded on Twitter and said, "Squirrels." Squirrels are on her mind.
Calm down there, Doug.
Big L. Big L also chimed in and said he wanted to give a review of the Freamless episode. So last week's episode.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who's this?
Swollen Consonant.
Okay.
He said things that sucked last episode. Number 1, Crandy's awful Fream impersonation. Number 2,
that's fair.
Tarragon talking about PAX for 37 minutes.
Yeah, fair.
Number 3, no real Fream. This is Fream, by the way. Number 4, sorry, that's a Titanfall joke. Let me explain myself. I play a lot of Destiny with randoms, and so if you're going to do something in that game with randoms, you need to tell them what you're doing. So it'd be like, oh yeah, Fream's going to go left, Fream's going to do this. So when I say that in Titanfall, and everybody knows my voice, they're like, yeah, we know it's you, idiot. Number 4 was when Prue asked his Prue-mate about SouthPark.com. That didn't come across well. Number 5.
I just like that Prue-mate.
Big L was not mentioned in the show.
Yes. And sorry, I forgot my Big L quota.
Yep. And number 6 was that Damien was involved. So, there's some criticisms from. We'll work on those, Big L.
Yeah, I guess we'll take the general view that if Big L thinks the episode sucked, then we're doing something right. So
it's really surprising he found some things to complain about here. I'm just really kind of amazed that it happened. But
yeah. So I had some questions
that.
on my TA friend feed as well, and we're going to start off with Damien, actually, since we were just speaking of him. He said, hey, how am I going to fund 2 kids going through college, pay off my mortgage, and stay employed over the next 30 years of my life? That's what's on his mind. Is there anything we can do to assuage Damien's concerns that his kids are doomed and his life sucks?
Well, given that Donald Trump is in power, I will say no. You're all screwed.
He is very keen at getting free video games, though. So he's got that going for him. Which
is nice, but is that
not
enough?
Sure that's going to put food on the table.
Yeah.
Here, my advice to you, Damien: life of crime. I hear it's lucrative.
Yeah, I see that in like games, in Grand Theft Auto, Saints Row, but it pays off.
Yeah, there's no negative consequences at all. I think you'd be totally fine.
Yeah. Not a single one. You know, Kaiba Chaos chimed in and asked the question, why are buildings called buildings when they're already built? You got any answer for that?
Because English is stupid.
English is really stupid. What is it in Chinese or Japanese? You're learning Japanese, right? What's building?
I have no idea.
Here's where the meat of it gets. So NBA Kirkland says, hey, did you guys pick up anything on the Xbox Black Friday deals? Of course, McLovin Legend says, I got to know what Tarragon's buying. I mentioned it on in the Titanfall session about that you've already, once the sales hit, you already went nuts and started buying stuff.
Yeah.
Care to share?
I've been actually studiously not buying much lately.
You have?
But the things went up and I just went, yeah, okay, there's enough there, and I just went bang, 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 bang. So I'm just trying the list. Jackbox Party Pack 3, Song of the Deep, Valley, Dangerous Golf, Lego Jurassic World for the Xbox One, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons on Xbox One, and Video Ball. So that was my starter. We'll see what else goes on sale.
Yeah, it's weird that they're kind of staggering the releases a bit.
Yeah, I think they gave a bit of a preview sale for gold members, and not to be confused with the movie, and I was waiting for somebody to pick that
up.
Was
good. It took me a second, and I had to think about it. Oh, that was good.
Yeah, so I think they're going to be releasing a bunch for silver members during the week, and then the full sale. So yeah, I'm not quite exactly sure, but yeah, I guess they're just trying to build excitement by staggering it up.
Yeah, for sure. I think the one that I'm still wrestling with is the introductory sale of Headlander. It's 40% off it's a new release from Double Fine, produced by or published by Adult Swim Games, and it is a Metroidvania where you are a head inside of an astronaut's helmet that has a jetpack, and the head can fly on top of other bodies and then use that body to manipulate, to do things. And so, like, the doors will only open for certain bodies, right? So the red body has the gun and is a security bot. And then you can fly to, like, the green body, and that green body can jump or something. I don't know. But you understand the mechanics. And so it's a Metroidvania in that sense. I kind of want to get it.
Yeah, I think there were a couple of other new release or newish release things there, but that just weren't quite cheap enough for me to pull the trigger.
Yeah, they're only at 33. I saw that too. They were they tickled my fancy, but I think maybe the countdown to New Year's.
Yeah, the other one that was on, I was just very, very tempted to buy was the Shadow of Mordor Game of the Year edition, which was like half price or something like that. It was like $20 US or something on it. Almost, but then it's like, no. I still have to go through and actually play through the first one and get all of that done, and backlog and stuff.
That's funny. I thought that too, because I was like, I really enjoyed that game, but I have other game. I've already played that game. Put it away. You've already done everything in that game. What I didn't play that was interesting was Far Cry Primal Apex. Right, so that's all the DLC. That's $26, and the other one's $24. It's like, yeah, you pay $2 for the season pass. Like, why wouldn't you?
I also almost picked up Mad Max, but I figured I'll get that on disc cheap at some point or another. But
see, that's my problem.
It was almost, yeah.
Buying stuff on disc, Brew?
My problem is that I want the discs, of anything that has a disc copy. So I'm like torn on whether or not, like, I want to buy the Lego Jurassic World 2 because it's $10, and it seems unlikely that I'll get a new copy of that for a very long time.
Well,
for $10.
and you're probably not even going to get a second-hand copy at that price either for a long time. And certainly just going back on those prices, certainly not in Australia. Even on sale, that game was $40 Australian sale price. Same sale.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
so it's just
like,
all the Lego games are just ridiculously overpriced in the digital market here.
Yeah, it's like, what do you like? In the Turtles game is half off. That I'll probably wait on.
Why has there not been a Lego Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Don't even ask me. I don't know. It seems like pure gold to me, but
that seems like the perfect fit. Like, why is that?
Yeah. I may pick up the remaster of Shadow Complex because that's super cheap, and I loved that game. And now it's got 1,000 gamer score in it too, and Jackbox as well. I think I'm like, Mad Max is cheap, but there's a disc, and I just want the discs, so I'm just torn. I don't know what I'm going to end up picking up.
I think with Mad Max, it just wasn't quite cheap enough for me to just instantly pull the trigger, but it's also a very big game, and I know it'll take a long time, and it's kind of like, I don't want to commit to buying too many more big games at the moment, just because I want to actually get through some of the ones I've got. It's been a bit tricky. And funny thing as well, given that I'm sort of game sharing with Fream now, is that I would have waited on a lot of these games and just got them on disc because they end up often being cheaper, just second hand or whatever. But now I have Fream in the back of my mind. It's like, I really should get that digital.
I did the same thing.
And I'm
looking. Oh, that's sweet.
And it's kind of really stymied my buying physical, so I'm opted in for digital now, but I tend to just go for the cheaper of the digital stuff when it comes up.
I made a list of my Black Friday deals, and I feel guilty about buying them because they're physical discs, but it's like these are great gifts, good prices for my family members to get me, right? Because if somebody was going to buy me, they're like, oh, we spend like $20 on you. It's like, that's fine, right? I have tons of uncles and brother-in-laws, sister, whatever. It's like $20. Okay, hey, here's a list of games that are $15. Go buy me 2 of them: Far Cry Primal, Recore, Doom, Dark Souls 3. Walmart's going to have Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 for $8 on Black Friday. Like, those are steals.
If just an FYI, if Record does come up on sale digitally, I'm probably going to pick that up during this sale. So I don't know if it already had. I didn't see it, but that's something.
No, actually, Record tweeted and said Black Friday will be their price drop.
Right.
So,
okay. So
I think it'll be $20.
Yeah, I'll almost certainly be picking that up just because the thing has intrigued me for ages, and I've been wanting to play it. So,
agreed. I like hearing people talk about it. So we had another comment from Damien. A squatty potty.
Ugh.
He asks, is it a fad or a necessity?
Total
I
fad.
didn't know what this was. I Googled it. Okay?
Did you see the infamous unicorn version of that, demonstrating how the squatty potty thing works? Is
it a commercial that I need
hilarious.
to watch?
Yeah, it's actually a commercial. So it's basically
there it is.
Safely demonstrating how the squatty potty works with a unicorn that poops ice cream.
Oh my goodness!
Naturally,
and he's going to eat it.
Yep.
And he does.
Yeah, and he explains the difference. If you don't have the squatty potty, is it just has so much glitter in it. It's nobody wants that. Yeah, that's a thing.
I did not realize this video existed. This video is going in the show notes. I'm copying it right now. Okay.
Yes. So, that's the thing. So no, but I don't think squatty potties are a necessity, really. Personally.
So okay,
But the world is a better thing for having that unicorn.
Yeah, I got to show my wife this commercial. My kids would love it too. Okay, so this is gonna. I don't want this to get graphic, but like this issue here, not a problem for me. I'm fine there. But my daughter, right? So she's 5, is always complaining. She's like, "I need my stool. Can you bring my stool?" And it's like I just assumed it's because she's little and her feet can't get on the ground. She wants her, feet up a little higher so that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can see that. Have you ever actually tried to go to the loo without your feet touching the ground?
Yes,
it actually feels quite awkward. I don't know. The last few times I've done it, like I don't forget where and how it happened, but it was like some toilet that didn't have space for your feet to go, or was just really high off the ground or whatever. It kind of is a bit awkward.
I guess it can't. I don't know. Why are we talking about poop? This is terrible.
I don't know. Unicorns.
Right. This kind of goes into what J.J. Aldana said. Why is there anything? Why does anything even exist? I have no answer for that. But my favorite question is from Philip Wendell, and this is actually gaming related. We'll get back on track here, I promise. He says, and this will kind of be our discussion of the week. We're kind of going to skip a lot of the news that happened this week. There's nothing really special out there. But he asks, do people stop gaming at a certain age, or will we who grew up with like Pong and whatnot becoming the first gaming octogenarians? And what kind of games are going to be marketed to that aging group? Right? Because now we're getting to the point where the people who grew up on video games are us, our age. They're tickling the mid 40s, creeping into the late 50s. Like, that is where video games really, started to develop. Now, of course, generations below us, younger chaps like Prue, you've got a different perspective on,
and particularly Randy. I mean, he's only just starting. Really,
yeah.
Starting.
He uses a squatty potty because he can't reach the ground. He's so little. Actually, he just. Oh my God! I don't even want to go here. Have you ever? Okay, I'm sorry, I have to go back. All right. Have you ever seen, like, like furries, right? Where they're like people who dress up in stuffed animal things and do horrible things. So that there's like a subculture of people who dress up like babies and want to be treated like babies.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And
like
I'm sorry, this podcast has gone to a really, really weird place.
This is, and I watched a show. I'm sure it was on TLC, right? It is because you learned a lot. And there was a man, and he was as tall as Rand. Like he is a giant man, and he likes this sort of thing. And he has I'm going to put quotes around girlfriend, because she likes being the mom. And, like, he actually, like, will defecate himself and have her, oh my God.
Yeah,
I can't believe I just said that. That is just the worst. And me thinking of Randy on a squatty potty makes me picture this person. And now I'm like my insides hurt. Like, I can't get this imagery out of my head. This is awful.
So are we actually going to call this episode Randy's Squatty Potty? Is that what's happening right now?
That's got to be like in the parentheses.
It'll be something like that.
This is horrible. Just cut all of this. Just cut the whole show. This is a disaster. I can't believe where we've gone. Let's get back to being an old man.
Old man gamer.
Or woman.
Yeah, I honestly think we'll probably be playing exactly the same games that we're playing now. I think growing up as a gamer, I don't think our game styles, once you've reached adulthood at any rate, I don't think the games that we like to play are necessarily going to change too much. You might move into, say, slower, less twitchy games, like games that don't require...
That's where I was going to go with it.
So, but yeah, I think... And I mean, I already find that anyway. I don't enjoy Twitch shooting or, superly difficult, precise platforming stuff as much as I used to when I was younger. And I don't know whether that's necessarily just, I mean, you don't lose too much of that over the course of your 30s, but it's...
No, but I think it comes down to frustration. Because, like, with me, with Titanfall, when I just jump into a lobby and, like, you know, yes, I don't practice that game, I don't play that game, you know, but it's a first-person shooter. I'm competent in a first-person shooter. But because I don't know the maps, because I don't know the guns, I don't know the distance, I haven't learned that game.
Yeah,
it's very difficult for me to be competitive, and so I get frustrated.
The other side of that as well is just time. To get good at those things, you need to practice them. You need to know the maps. You need to learn all of that stuff specifically for a particular game, because each game is just subtly different enough that they're going to have things that you need to know. And if you're time poor, then you're not going to get that kind of practice. So that's the other side of that. But I would say as you're getting older, once you're getting over 50, 60, it's going to be a little bit harder just to maintain the controls. I mean, you're probably going to have more agile hands than most people of that age who haven't been gamers, simply because you've been practicing.
You've been
all
using
the time.
them,
But you will slow down. You will start to get things like arthritis and things that will affect your issues there. So the types of games you play might change a little bit, but I don't think there's particularly a target. There's not really a different target market there. I just think that the market that we're in now is going to get older.
My cynical, snarky side thinks, of course, these people will be playing, Pong remastered, or whatever. but I actually kind of look at this in a different way. I mean, if you think of television, and how the people of our parents or grandparents' generation kind of grew up with that technology, and how their television viewing habits went as they got older, I kind of see a similar trajectory for our generation, that beginning generation of video games as well. It's not so much that it will change slightly, but it's actually just going to deviate more and more as time goes on from what is big and popular in that culture, if that makes any sense. So the newer generations, once they come up and start making their own games, we or the people that age won't be quick to adopt the new stuff. Like Tarragon just said, we're just going to keep playing the stuff that we know.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I look at that with my music tastes, and so I recently tried out or got instruction to be a gym instructor at my gym here. So I'm going to start teaching classes.
Nice.
And one of the biggest draws for me is that I get to control the music, because I'm totally sick of hearing AC/DC and dance music and whatnot. It's like, you know what? I'm going to play some punk music because that's what I want to listen to when I work out. And so I was going on Spotify and I was going through my music that I think would be good for workouts. Some high energy, no lulls, whatever. And all of the CDs I'm looking at are circa 1998 to 2007.
Yep.
And it's like, I know there's still punk music being made. I hear it on the radio every now and again, but that it doesn't do anything for me because they're talking about, high school drama and, trying out for the football team and how this girl doesn't like me anymore and all this. And it's like, there's no connection with that story to me, whereas the other ones, I get nostalgia pulled in.
Yeah.
And
Fream, I've just got to say, if you were literally looking at CDs, you've already missed the boat.
It was on Spotify, but they have the image, the album image.
I'm kidding.
Jerk.
Yeah, that's the thing they put on there for old people who used to use CDs.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
But to your point, Prue, I mean, let's say they start coming out with the new wave, right? The Nintendo Switch is the most amazing thing ever, and now they've got haptic sensors for your knees, so you can do all the dance games, and that's the new thing. It's like, hell no, I am not doing a dance game. Don't even.
Speaking of dance games, I have another little takeaway from PAX.
Oh dear.
This is a totally
This is a Big L exclusive.
Yeah, Big L exclusive. Now, as I was wandering around PAX, they have Just Dance 2017 playing, there's 2 or 3 different spots where the people just playing constantly, right? And they're just cycling people through. And so as I'm walking up and going through the panels and whatnot, and I hear this song, and it's just like a really catchy song, and I'm coming down the stairs and watching the thing, and looking at the dance that's going along to it, and think, that looks really fun. It's like, okay, I wonder what that was. And I must have caught the same song about 3 or 4 times. Each time I go, I've got to work out what that song is. So this may or may not have happened after I got back from PAX. I may or may not have spent about 3 to 4 hours tracking down that song. That is a thing that may or may not have happened.
And that just shows the point here is the music industry flips so much faster than almost any other industry. So that's a perfect microcosm of what we're talking about here. So as soon as you start saying music isn't like how it used to be, then you're past the prime. You are no longer the target audience of mainstream popular music. And then eventually you're going to hit that with television, you're going to hit that with movies, and it seems like, I imagine, if we follow that trajectory, you're going to hit that with video games. Oh, they don't make video games like they used to, blah, 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 blah. I
think there's 2 sides to that, though. I think the thing about me and my musical taste is I listen to a wide range of music, but core of my musical interest is in
garbage.
Is in electronic music, and electronic music moves at a humongous pace. There's lots of it coming out, and styles change drastically all the time, even if you may not hear that yourself. The thing is, I've never really been into pop music. I've always been into things that are next to pop. So, I've been a Nine Inch Nails listener and industrial back in the 90s and Queens of the Stone Age kind of era rock, and then a lot of electronica from all through that sort of Aphex Twin and everything through to what I currently listen to, a lot of dubstep and stuff like that. So I think what your interests are might still be, you may not find yourself getting sort of not stale's the wrong word, but you might not find yourself moving out of step if your interests are in the right sort of areas. Because I feel like I'm not really losing touch with music. I'm always listening to new music and finding new artists just because there's that much good electronic music out there. So anyway, I guess it just depends on the person as to whether they're sort of constantly looking for new things or if they're happy with what they sort of have at the moment. And there's no real fault either way. It's just the way people are, I guess. Yeah,
I wonder if we have old people attitude towards VR already. I'm pretty sure we've all been skeptical of it, and we have good reasons to be, of course. I'm not saying we don't, but we don't look at it the same way a young person does, I'm sure. Yeah, quote unquote young. We don't look at it the same way Randy looks at it. I'm kidding. So I'm just, I'm curious. Maybe it is. There are 2 sides of that, of course, but it's just, whereas obviously even at not old ages, we're still kind of already set in our ways, for sure.
Yeah, so but I think that can be defeated. I think that's something that you can actively decide not to shut yourself off from. And just going back to PAX as well, it was Major Nelson's sort of comment was basically, if you're comfortable, get uncomfortable, try new things. Expand your horizons. Be willing to accept things that you might not consider your normal sort of comfort zone or the things that you might like, because you may find something you do like. There might be something new, and that's and that keeps you kind of fresh, I guess.
Ooh, new scares me. So I've been there have been multiple requests, from my mother-in-law, who is clamoring to get one of those classic NES systems. Her husband, who, he's 62 or something or whatever, he wants a Nintendo. He wants to get that classic Nintendo. And, of course, everywhere's sold out. And she never told me. I mean, I've had an ability to buy them before. And she's like, oh, you must be really interested in that, too, for Christmas, right? Kind of wink, wink. And I'm like, not really. It's because if I wanted to get those games, I'd just get an emulator, and I'd do it off my computer. I don't need the Nintendo system. And I went back and I played Mega Man Legacy Collection. It's they don't make games like they used to because game design back then was so terrible. Yep. It's fun to a point, but I don't really want to play Ghosts and Goblins again because that was so brutally difficult. And it wasn't a fun difficult. And like when I hear Prue and Randy, you guys talking about Perfect Dark, I'm like, that sounds terrible. Like I don't want that level of difficult. Like, and it's a big wall for me to get back into Dark Souls. It's like it's so punishingly difficult. Now, yes, there could be a reward, a satisfaction for completing those things, but I'm not sure it's worth the effort putting into it. And so I've already kind of seen my gaming habit shift as I've gotten older. I am hugely interested in indie games. I think they are, typically they'll take more risks. They're smaller in scope and size, and they can do some fun and unique things and bring new ideas. And so I embrace that. AAA titles, they don't really do that anything for me anymore, right? They're great. I love the level of polish. I think they look really nice, but I don't have the most fancy TV, right? I certainly don't have a 4K TV. So awesome graphics. Yeah, I don't really care. I want great gameplay. Something of that size and scope and scale. Going to take 80 hours. I don't have 80 hours. That just not what, so it doesn't appeal to me.
I guess that's circumstance. I mean, just imagine if, imagine it's 20 years from now and all of your kids have left home and you've got all the free time in the world. What happens then? Will games that have a 80-hour playtime, are they going to appeal to you then? Are you going to go back and go, hey, that game that was lauded, The Witcher 3 way back 20 years ago, I'm going to pick that up now.
I almost bought The Witcher 3 Game of the Year too. What is that, $25 right now?
Yeah, that's a big game.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, oh my god, I hear it's like a masterpiece, and I should just play it. And there's boobs in it, so
But we're not that kind of podcast, Fream. God,
you're right. But I mean, just the storytelling and stuff that's in that, like, and it's the same reason I bought Dragon Age Inquisition Game of the Year. It's like I really want to play that.
Yeah,
but like I need
You should. It's good.
Well, yeah.
I've heard.
So my wife just told me that she needs to go on a business trip for like a week sometime in January or something. And so we're trying to figure out what time it is, and it's like a whole week, you say. So kids go to bed at 6 p.m. and dad gets to stay up and play video games. Oh, I got to take the kids to school? Oh, that means I got to get some time to sleep in every morning, too. Okay.
Yeah, so
we can make this work.
Better take some leave over January.
Yeah, right? I'm already starting to feel sick. But, like, really that's going to be what changes. I mean, yeah, my kids will probably start doing other things, but now that they're getting older, they're going to be in sports. They're going to be, if anything, my time is going to get smaller. I don't know.
Yeah. So I guess the question is, it's available time as to what you're going to invest your time into. If you've only got a small window, you're only going to invest in games that are going to reward that small window of time. So,
the final piece to his question was what kind of games would be marketed to that group. And I think one thing that we haven't really touched on is the, like you said, Tarragon, where you've got arthritis or you've got, like, there will be a growing market of tools to improve the gaming of an older person, right? There's already developments in trying to get people who have physical limitations to play games, right? If you can't move, if you've got a semi-paralysis in one of your arms, or there's so many ailments that can affect your ability to play video games, and there are many individuals out there trying to come up with creative ways to get those people engaged in video games.
Yeah,
you will see a growing market of that as
certainly
people get
a
older.
lot of the one-off things like that being built for people with disabilities is really great. I think even in the case of, say, you're an arthritic person and you've got arthritis in your hand, things like the Elite controller and being able to remap buttons to different places and use the paddles and things like that, it's going to be a godsend. So, I mean, we can only, in the Elite controller, I think it's kind of the pinnacle of, first-party manufacturer-supported controllers like that. And so we're only kind of going to go up from there and give people have more options and more controls and that sort of thing to work around any kind of ailment that comes their way, I think. So, yeah. As for what the marketing question, given that we're You just probably just have to look at the marketing now and go, well, okay, let's say the hypothesis that people get sort of stuck in what they're interested in around about our age, right? And then they don't sort of change too much in the next 20 years in terms of what their interest is. The marketing is going to be the same. To market at those people, you're going to be doing exactly the same thing that you are now. The only reason there's marketing that's different now for people who are older is because the older generation, like 20, 30 years older than us now, typically don't play games. And so you're trying to target a new market by giving them something that will appeal to them because they haven't been involved in games before. So it's kind of like it's a different segment, if you know what I mean. Whereas our segment's going to be shifting forward in age. So the segment that you're actually targeting your advertising to will just be shifting in age, I think. I don't think there will actually be a lot of difference in how things are marketed later. But
well, look at, Fream, you just mentioned the NES that came out. I mean, that's what it'll be. I mean, it'll be play the games you did when you were young. And whatever that is at the time, whatever that thing that they're targeting at that point. But that's exactly what it's going to be. Like, we can relive that experience from...
so that's the nostalgia. That's the nostalgia. The nostalgia target, which has pretty much always been there. But I don't know. Yes, those people are gamers, but they were gamers, and they might have stopped being gamers. And then you target them to go and buy like the NES emulator thing. And that's sort of like they're bringing people back to gaming in that sense. That's kind of another market again. I think that's not a. It's not a. You're already an embedded gamer. You've already got a console or two. You know what I mean? I don't know that. I feel like the crossover between people who will go and buy one of those NES devices for nostalgia reasons are not quite the same as the people who are constantly playing on their Xbox One. Anyway.
What I hope is that with Phil Spencer's initiative to maintain backwards compatibility throughout the generations, right? Live without boundaries, or what is it? All through generations, that I can still go back and play my backwards compatible 360 titles on 3 Xboxes from now, right? That they've include some sort of app or emulator or whatever, so that if I want to ever go back and play, Enslaved Odyssey to the West, even though it's not backwards compatible yet, I'm thinking it will be. Anyway, pick a game that's backwards compatible and get to play that on my brand new system and have that ability to stay in their ecosystem and pull all those games up with me, I think is a huge benefit, and it is something I'm looking forward to, because then I don't feel bad about spending all this money. And of course, I'm doing this on good faith, right? Hopefully, I can find a working 360 if I need to go back and play old broken games. But in my head, I've always got these products that, as long as the digital library and the physical discs stay intact, that eventually I should be able to play them. So as an 80-year-old man, I can, finally get around to Witcher 3 and see what all the hubbub was about.
So what do you think? Zero. Oh, geez. Maybe we'll finally be able to finish it. Yeah. So just as a quick side question, let's presume that is a possibility and that's a thing that happens. What is your gamer score going to look like in 50 years?
If I haven't hit 1 million in 50 years, there's something wrong with me.
Yeah, well, where am I now? I'm at 140,000, so I'll probably be at 200,000.
You think that's that high? You think?
Yeah, I'm going big.
Yeah,
I'm going big.
I mean, it's almost like, we kind of want it to continue for as long as possible, but on the other hand, that just feels like chains around our neck if that exists for the next 30 years. I don't know if I can handle it.
But as computers began to develop and you were looking at file sizes and stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, that's like a few meg. I don't know how you're going to fit that into a disc.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden a few meg turned into, that's a huge game. That's like 300 some meg. Like that, that's going to take up a ton of your hard drive space. And, the megs all of a sudden turn... Do you see the size of that 360 game? It's 6.6 gig. How am I going to fit that on my, my hard drive? I only got 40 gig there. And now, I mean, it's getting ridiculous, right? We're adding a prefix every time. That's why we have teraflops, you know? And maybe at some point, we'll have the K or the M as part of our gamer score, MGS, thousands of gamer score.
Be ticking up so slowly, or they'll start releasing games that have like 10,000 gamer score each or something.
Oh, geez.
Maybe you just shift the scale. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of like that's what you do with money, right? Once it gets to that sort of scale, and you rebalance it all. Yeah, anyway, it's like the Zimbabwe dollar.
Venezuela did that when we were there. The Bolivar went to Bolivar Fuerte, and it completely just tanked the economy. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, all your money is worthless, and you have to now have these. That's scary. Speaking of worthless, Ubisoft is in talks.
That's a bit harsh.
Well, we were talking about Assassin's Creed earlier too. Okay. They're in talks with Netflix about coming up with an Assassin's Creed TV show.
I guess we'll have to see how the movie goes.
I'm very curious about the movie, and I'm hoping, and the reason I bring this up is and we were just talking about this off show, I hope they bring the ridiculous bugs and like they have them as like Easter eggs in the show. And we just watched before the show, and if you haven't done this, I'll put the YouTube video. Polygon did a side-by-side comparison of the Assassin's Creed remaster or the Ezio collection. So Assassin's Creed 2 in particular, they updated a bunch of textures, and it looks crisper. There's certainly more color.
What did they do to that guy's face?
There's one guy that turned into a monster. I can't even. Like, I looked at him like, I don't remember. You see the picture without the caption, and you say, I don't remember that from Assassin's Creed 2 when I played it, but the other one looks nice. And then they point out, no, you have that backwards. The one that looks nice is the original. The one that's a remaster, this guy looks like a crazy, insane clown. I mean, it's unbelievable. And we watched some of the climbing mechanics where, like, legs were getting caught and dragged around, and he moved around like a spider. I mean, it's insane. What did you guys do? So if you haven't seen those videos, I urge you to. And when I watch things like that at work, like, as I have to have the sound down, because I'm not supposed to be doing that type of stuff. But come on, I can't pass up something with a guy's face that looks like that. And so I'll watch this, and like I've got tears streaming down my face because I'm laughing so hard, but I'm trying so hard not to make it audible. And like sometimes I have to like fake a cough so that I can actually just like get this out. Because it's real quiet where I work at times. And if they hear me giggle in a storm, they're going to know something's up. And so this video almost broke me today. It was so funny. So, all right. That's, I think that's about it. Does anything else you guys want to cover? You guys feel pretty good?
Yep.
Yeah,
I think that's
I'm good.
I think we're good.
Perfect. So let's move into, we got some knobs and discos here. Did we get help from a community on this one?
Yeah, I think Kung Fu Seals must have let us know. So thank you.
Thank you, Kung Fu. It looks like you helped Randy out for Bridge Constructor. Apparently the achievements were not unlocking like they were supposed to, or having some sticking issues.
Yeah,
and Kung Fu Skills says, "Hey, guess what? We fixed them." Well, maybe he didn't fix them. They're fixed.
Awesome.
So that's just great. That's just great news for everybody. Do you have any idea what the Review Zed game is this week?
I do not.
It'll be a surprise for all of us. Let's listen.
All right.
On this week's Review Zed, we are covering Cluster Truck. Now, it might be a little weird this week because, one, we're disagreeing, and two, this is actually the second time we're recording this. Zencastr lost Damien's audio the first go, so we are trying to recreate our previous discussion, having it again.
All right. So the information we can agree on. So
let's start it off. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Cluster Truck was published by Tiny Build Games. developed by Landfall Games, released on October 28th of 2016 with a Xbox Live retail price of $14.99.
Yes, so that's one of the things we do agree on. We'll get to that. So basically, the premise of this game is you are we don't know what you are.
Well, some person. You're you.
Yeah, sure. You're you. Or like a floating magic ball thing. We don't really know. And you are jumping on the back of trucks trying to get to a goal. And you can't touch the ground. You can't touch anything other than the trucks. And you can run really fast and jump really high. So that's pretty much the whole game.
Yeah.
Because it's a platformer where you jump on the back of trucks.
Yeah.
And
simple premise.
It's got really solid controls. The controls are on point. It's super responsive, exactly how you would want it to handle. And the graphics are fine. Like they're very simple, just given how simple the game is in general. It's pretty much just a general background, which is the world you're in that has 10 levels and the trucks, and you can't see yourself. So again, you don't know what you are. And that's pretty much it.
See, and for me, I guess that's where my issue with the game is, because for that price point, I mean, granted, yes, I agree with you. The controls are solid. I mean, to the point where sometimes, though, if you're making a tricky jump. Oh, and so some of the things I think we forgot to mention that we did the first time. So it's a physics-based game. So the trucks are physics-based moving forward. And every time you replay a level, the trucks are not necessarily going to do the exact same things they did the time before that.
Yeah, so the truck driver AI, if you want to call it that, is different every time. So they will kind of take a slightly different path or crash into different people or get hit or not get hit by different kind of environmental objects, making your path a little bit different every time, which...
Yeah, but it's not dramatically different. I mean, in principle, things are pretty much where they were. It's just... You can't sit there and map out like, okay, I know I got to jump from this one to this one every time. Like, you can't like memorize a course. Like, when you're going to get the course, part of it is, quite frankly, luck based.
Yeah,
that you're going to get a good route.
And in a game like this, that really is primarily, I guess, the draw to it would be that it is highly skill based. I would say that's kind of a downside, because now you are putting luck into the mix of what should be primarily skill and kind of taking away from the ability to be consistently good at it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's nice in that it's not just memorization. You do actually have to react to what's going on around you, which is kind of nice, but I would say, personally, I would take consistency over the slightly varied option.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I did like about the game, especially, and I compare this to last week's Monochroma, was when you would die in Monochroma, you had that awful load screen, which is, like 30 seconds of your life, like that's gone, where it was instantaneous on the revives, which is nice on a game like that. So it definitely allowed for that. Oh, I'm going to try one more time, to get this. Like, oh, I'm so close. Okay, I'll give it one more try. Which, you could definitely find yourself in that infinite loop of, oh, there went an hour of my life. One more time.
That's pretty much what happened to me. I think I put in more, like an hour more than I expected, just one more timing it because I got close. And the nice thing with that too is it let you kind of, I want to say, effortlessly experiment with different options as we're playing, because there was so little penalty for having to restart. It was just so fast. There was no loading. You die and then you hit A and you're right back at the start immediately.
Yeah. But I guess
what you really need in a game like this, because if there was any kind of, the levels go so fast and you die so quickly that it was so quickly and so frequently that if there was any kind of wait to start over, it would just be torturous.
Yeah, but I guess that was my problem with the game, though, because even though there was that, that was kind of a nice, feature that was quick, but that really in essence was it. And when you start looking at a $15 price point for a game, you're kind of going, okay, like there was a few levels that were challenging. A lot of them were just, okay, you can get by very quickly, and you're kind of going, that's it for $15. Yeah. I mean,
And the other thing too is the difficulty curve is insane. So
yeah,
you play like the first 4 or 5 levels, you'll probably get them all in the third try.
Yep.
And then you hit this point where it's like, okay, now this is so hard that I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to make it.
Yeah.
And you play for a bit, and then you eventually kind of figure out more of the mechanics, but you're pretty much stuck there until you've more or less mastered movement in the game.
Oh yeah, there's no level skipping. It's you want to go to the next level,
exactly.
You beat the level before. Now you do, as you beat the levels, you can buy power-ups that help you, beat levels. However, you need to eventually one of the achievements, if you're going for all 100%, is you have to beat every level without any power-ups. So even though the power-ups will help you beat the levels, if you're going to go for 100% completion in terms of achievements, you're going to have to have beaten every level without them anyway. So,
yeah. And I did. So I guess both of us were playing as if we were going for that achievement.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that too. I feel like not using the power-ups just kind of had the pure experience.
Yep.
But from what I've read of the power-ups, they're not particularly useful anyway.
Yeah.
Like they might save you here and there, but just given how fast the game is, I can't really see them being that useful.
Yeah.
They're just it's too quick to, like, you can barely react to just fast enough to just land on a new platform, let alone, shoot a grappling hook at something in the distance without hitting the ground or hitting a tree or whatever. So I don't really see that achievement being too difficult in terms of other than just beating the game, because the rest of the achievements, there's a couple for getting some style points, and then the rest is just for beating the game. So I don't imagine that one's, I didn't get that far to beat it, but I don't imagine that it's going to be too much harder doing it without the power-ups.
Yeah, I think the thing that just, as I said, there's definitely like the dynamic where I liked the game, it was different, but it just, for me, there was a lot lacking, and there was no story. There's no, why are you doing this? The graphics, I mean, I wouldn't even say adequate for a title. I mean, quite frankly, I mean, I think it would be good for a VR just because of how it, plays,
Yeah, well, the other thing too is like the graphics do look very kind of VR-y. Like when you look at a VR game, how they're kind of like not a lot of colors, not a lot of details, but looks decent. I'd kind of describe that as the graphics. And if this was in VR, I mean, I still haven't tried VR, but I would imagine it would be really intense and probably a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's fine, like if you had it in that sense, but I guess it's just that there's for $15, it's, you could have put some more time into the graphics. You could have maybe I think
or added some more depth to the gameplay or the levels or something.
Yeah,
it's
a solid game.
Even at $15, this was a game that I really wanted to try, and it really appealed to me just in that sense that it's a super fast first-person platformer, just a really fast-paced game with kind of a high skill cap and almost an arcadey style. And even I am kind of like $15. I don't know. Like, I like those kind of games. I wanted to play this one, and that's at $10. I'd be a lot more okay. But even then, $10 would be I'm only going to recommend this if you're really into a game like this. But I think the kind of everybody price point would be like $5. There's so we pretty much described the entire premise of the entire game in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and that's really what it is. Is there's just not much to it. It's what's there is fun, but it's hard to justify a price point that high.
And that starts becoming the problem for me. That's it really could be run on a phone. It is a phone app now released to console, and unless it's actually
on phone though, is it?
What?
I don't think it's actually on phones.
No,
though,
but I'm saying is the graphics, everything about it. There's nothing that's really utilizing the fact that this was developed for a console. And I guess that's usually my like big thing. Like if I'm going to go and spend, $5 on a game for my phone and it runs on my phone, that's fine. But if I'm going to go and buy a console game, it's kind of that mix of those ports, right? Again, it's solid, but you put it out to console. It's $15. There should just be more to it. I like what they had, and I definitely wouldn't say you should sacrifice the solid controls that you put, but there just needed to be more.
And what's there is very sound.
Yeah.
But there's just not enough to it. There's not enough meat there to say I really want to come back to this. I can really strongly recommend this. It's just too simple. Not simple is the wrong word, but too like bare bones.
Yeah. It seemed like a good premise, and unfortunately that it's already at release. This isn't like a beta. This isn't hey, try this out as a demo. Yeah, exactly. It's like this is the full release, and you're going, oh, you're done? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, I think we can agree that it probably fits in our meh category.
Yeah.
Just mostly on the price. If it's on sale and you're into that kind of game, I'd check it out. But
yeah,
it's pretty tough to the high price point.
Yeah, I can't recommend anybody I know saying this is what you should spend $15 on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
with that, we will see you. Well, I won't be here next week, but Damien and somebody else will be.
I'll find a guest.
Yep.
Who? I don't know.
We'll see. All right. Until next time.
All right, and then I have a bunch of zombie news, but I'm gonna save some of it. So the one that I'm gonna say now is I'll do two of them. Apparently, Left 4 Dead, the creator, he's no longer with Valve, and so he had this this personal, like he had been working on a campaign, and now that he's at Turtle Rock now, and they're not doing Evolve. Obviously, we talked about that last week. He said, we actually worked on a campaign for this that never got released. And he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna release it because it's not finished. It's a piece of garbage. You can only play it on PC, but it's called Damn It, DAMIT, right? So dam, like a hydroelectric dam. And you play on a dam. It's the idea is it's supposed to be this like gap between, they're saying, dead air with where the plane crash in the swamp, right? And Blood Harvest, where you're going through the marsh to get to the city. You're supposed to cross this dam, and this one actually wants you to split up. Like, you're supposed to take different paths and stuff. And anyway, so if you're interested, you can actually go and find this and play it on Left 4 Dead 1 on the PC. That's kind of cool. Not that I hope. Yeah, I mean, the hope is that there's, this stays in the news and that Valve maybe is like, oh, hey, yeah, we're working on Left 4 Dead 3.
No, they'll never confirm
never gonna happen.
a third of anything. I suspect the Portal 3 will never happen. It's not going to happen.
Never going to happen.
They'll have Portal 2 Episode 1 or something. But anyway.
But yeah, if you're missing Left 4 Dead and you're interested, there is a free campaign. Now they did put the caveat in there that it is very much unfinished, unpolished, right? So it's playable and you can go through but it's not pretty. It's not, the textures aren't perfect. It's got some issues. So don't hold it against them because they didn't finish. They didn't do it. The other thing, and this is a fun thing to end on. So it's a Kotaku article. The rocket launcher from Resident Evil 3, the one that isn't that what Nemesis carried around? It's like that big old green rectangle with the 4 rockets that go in there. I'm sure you've seen it. It's very iconic. Well, there's a version of that you can get. That's a giant pillow. You can actually hug it and squeeze it. It's a big, giant, plush rocket launcher from Resident Evil 3. And actually, the rockets come out. They're like beanbags. You can actually
awesome.
pull these things out. It kind of looks like a mutant creeper, the way that it's set up from Minecraft, but it's called the Rocket Launcher Shaped Cushion. And you can buy it through Capcom. It only costs 6,200 yen, which is it's actually only $57 US.
I was about to say
I don't know
about $60, but yeah.
Yeah, not too bad. I kind of want one. I like it. It's
Christmas wish list. Christmas wish list.
It is huge.
It is very
really
large.
big.
It is very large. It is. What would you? It's like a. What's that? It's a rectangle. I was gonna say like a cooler, but what's a good set? It's like a kickboxing bag. I don't know if you have like a hanging punching bag, but maybe not as long.
Probably, yeah. Maybe
about 80% of that size. But it's significant. I mean, it's probably like the size of your torso, from maybe head to waist. Like it's
not quite as wide, but yeah.
No, not quite. But there you go. Plush Resident Evil rocket launcher. I would snuggle with that so hard.
Would you throw the rockets around?
I would bean my kids with them for sure. Yeah, I would. Yeah,
Dad
I
of the
would
year.
say, watch out, buddy. And I would. Oh man, when we go to like birthday parties with my son, and it's like in the gym or whatever, and the kids are running around, I will break into like flop sweat because I am playing dodgeball so hard, and I am like Billy Madison in those kids. Like I am just punishing them, because I coach most of them in baseball, and so like I know them, that we have fun and it's great, and I love being around kids and having the energy and stuff. And so you get me some dodgeball going on with some tiny tots, I will smoke them. Like I have no qualms about it, except there was one kid I did feel bad about because he was like real frail. Like I don't think he was like a hemophiliac, because they would have not let him play if he indeed was. But he was one of those kids where you kind of looked at and you're like, oh dear, are you okay?
Fream, did you break the kid?
What have I done?
No, but like when I hit him, and it was one of those like stingers. Like you could tell he was like, that was too far, coach. That was you hurt, and it's like I told the parents afterwards. I'm like, look, if any of your kids have welts, that was from something else. If you have dodgeball shaped bruises,
They came in like that.
That came in like that. Yeah, that was something else. I promise. So I think that's it for the show. Last few items to just mention is don't forget about all the places you can come hang out with us. Of course, our forums, forum.zzed.com. Man, did you remember everything that we need to add to the forums, Tarragon? Because we made a lot of promises this show.
Yeah, I'll add them in once I go through the show again. But yeah, I don't remember all of them either.
I don't either, and now I get a feel. So hopefully, when this is out, get on our forums, and I know one of them is getting us some debate topics. I'm really excited to see what you, as the community, come up with. That is going to be a lot of fun. There were tons of other things. Also, if you as a community want to give us a hand and give us a review or rating on iTunes, Google Play, wherever, that is a wonderful free way to contribute to the show, and we would really appreciate that. Of course, the show, you can find it, zzed.com. That's where all the streams are. Pull the show from there, and our show notes. You can get that pictures to the Resident Evil rocket launcher. Credits, all sorts of fun stuff like that. You want to talk to us? So many different ways to get a hold of us. Forums, that's one way. The other way is Twitter. We use Twitter all the time, at zzed, We have an email, contact@zzed.com. And we have spent an inordinate amount of time in the Discord chat. So if you're not over at our Discord chat, come find us and visit. That chat box gets it's loaded. It's so much fun. I love being over there. And of course, our club, the Zed to Zed Club. Ask for an invite. You most certainly are welcome. And we appreciate everything that you guys do for the community, getting your gaming sessions together. We look forward to playing with you on whatever it is out there, and anything that contributes to your contests. Now, don't forget about the Gamertag Challenge, BioShock for the month of November, Gears of War coming up in December, Disney Infinity coming up in January. So keep your eyes out for those. And this month's Gamertag is Lord Chabello 13. And the last thing is the Great Random To-Do List. By the time this comes out, November is starting to wrap up. Get your home stretch in and look forward to December. Finally, I want to give a big thanks to all the tools that help us make this show. Libsyn, Discord, Trello, Twitter, Discourse, Zencaster. You guys all are wonderful support for this show. Skype, we'll throw that on there too. TrueAchievements.com. Can't do this show without you guys, so thank you so much. And of course, Microsoft for giving us something to play and maintaining backwards compatibility until I'm 80. I cannot wait. So, on behalf of Prue, I'm pretty sure Randy and Damien will do the review Zed. If not, they're here in spirit. Tarragon's been here. We thank him for being. And of course, me, Brandon, and to all of you achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, I want to thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next episode.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
I'm Fream, by the way.
That's quite the gap there, Tarragon.
I was waiting for Prue because I wanted to get the "I'm Fream, by the way" in at the end.
Yeah, I get you.
Sorry to disappoint.
It's all right. I can edit. I have the
Prue
power.
likes to get his last word in. You don't know how to pronounce that.
We'll just call it peroxide.
Oh, I see what you did there. I see.
Oh, Marseille. I'm not a little bit racist.
Let us
Fart in your general direction.
Yes, that's not going to make the.
You're not going to put that in the outtakes? Why not? Come on.
No, I don't think so.
Live a little. Come on. Don't be French.
Now.
Perfect. Here we go. Ready?
Sure. Yes. Okay.
Well, you gotta stop talking so I can go into it. I can't start the show if you don't give me a break.
I'm ready now. Go when you like. I'm waiting for you to start. Just go for it. Whenever you want to.
I'm doing the hand signals, right? 5, 4. Oh, that's right. There's no video.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, what are you, then? I'm French. Why do you think I have this outrageous accent, you silly king?